Welcome to the channel, everyone. Model Car Guy Rich here. Today I've got an unboxing of the AMT 1966 Chevy Nova Pro Street 125 scale, and this kit is AMT 636M12, and it was released in 10 of 2024. It has approximately 110 parts. Here's a side view of it. Kind of a nice looking Chevy too there. Here's some goodies that are included on the inside. Tube chassis, wide slicks, high-rise manifold, displayable engine block, and engine stand. That's cool. We get a little bonus one there. Always like that. So alrighty, let me set you down. We'll get right into this one. I hope you're all having a fantastic day as always. Don't know if I mentioned that. And here we go. And this kit here has always been one of my favorites. Back in the early 80s, actually late 70s, early 80s, I was looking for a 66 Nova model kit and could not find one. They finally released it in the early 90s, I'm going to say. I'll put a picture up right here of the kit that finally came out. Yep. And this is why, this picture here is why I always wanted a model like this. And you'll see that one there. So alright, let's get right into this. Oh, look at there, guys. This one's molded in kind of a laser blue kind of color. That's pretty cool. Alright, right on top is the chrome, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Grab my scissors. Alright, here we go. Looks like this tree was originally blue and they've chromed over it. Okay, that's how they do that. Right off the top here we have the front end. Very distinctive looking to the 66, 67 Nova. If you don't know the difference, 66 had real thin bezels and the 67 had like a wraparound bezel that kind of gave it a flow look to it, sort of like the 67 Impala and the 67 Chevelle Malibu. All kind of had that same type of little design there. There's a rear bumper. This is the back panel for the trunk. Very nice. Some trim for underneath the rockers. This is front trim for the front fenders and the rear trim for the quarters. Very cool. Here's the chrome console. Alrighty, very nice. And this, I believe, is the front end little lip for the front of the hood. Decent looking rims, front and rears, two different sizes. I don't know if you can hear it in the back. My air compressor just kicked on. I apologize. Here's some wheelie bars. Very cool. Dual air cleaners, dual high-rise intake, different option for air cleaner, and the famous chrome alternator, some valve covers, and a tiny little intake manifold if you wanted, or maybe, oh, you know what? That's not it. That's part of the intake manifold, but it's the lower part of the carburetors is what that is. That mounts on there, and then you just, it looks like you just put these on there, unless there's a molded in blue somewhere actual carburetors. We'll see. Alright, we'll set that back there. Next is the glass. Pretty basic. You got the front windshield, the rear window, and two side windows, and two headlight covers. They're right there. I don't know if you can see them real good. Then we have wheels. Alrighty, so we're building this one strictly in a pro stock version. You can't build this particular kit in a stock version. Very nice rear slicks. One piece, unlike the two-piece ones that I just did in that Tommy Ivo dragster. Go back and check that out if you wonder what I'm talking about. And the front tires are unbranded also. The rear slicks are unbranded. There's the tread on that one. Pretty basic, but it's there, so it's kind of cool. Alrighty, well, let's set that there. Here's the body. Alrighty, we're going to get right into that. A little bit of flashing I see, and the feel has got a weird mixture for the plastic, guys. It doesn't feel like regular polystyrene. I don't know the different names of the styrene plastics, or the plastics, and this one's a little different. Body's nice and straight though. That's very cool. Again, one of my favorite cars. We'll have to remove that. A little bit of flashing around the headlight areas and that. Some miscellaneous sanding will have to be done. Just general cleanup. I don't see any body lines from, well, yeah, there's a little one right there. I don't know if you can see that. That's got to be sanded down flat, both sides, from where the molds came together, the seam line. And the one-piece chassis, which is kind of different because, I don't know if you know, but this year Nova had a subframe on it like the Camaros. So basically it detached from here up, and this is all one separate piece. But this particular kit, it's all molded in. Alrighty. We'll stuff that back in the bag. Shove that back in the bag, maybe. And we'll throw it on the bench top here. Alright, put that there. And then final bag of molded in blue. I see the hood, and it looks like a stock hood, but the hood on the box looks like it's got a scoop, so we'll probably have to cut that out. Here it is right here. Let's see if we flip it over. Yep, sure enough, we're going to cut that out if you want to make it like the box art. These are the inner fender wells. Dashboard with the brake and clutch built in. It's a non-stock looking dashboard. This is all custom. That's not the way the original car looks. Steering wheel is very reminiscent of a standard Chevy 2 Nova steering wheel. This says it's an SS on the box, which is right there, but the SS Nova actually had a different style steering wheel. I'm babbling, sorry. Hood hinges, if you want to display your kit with the hood up. Okay. Here is the engine that would go on the display stand. Here's the heads, timing chain cover, back of the block, the head and valleys there, nice. The lower part of the block. This is part of the engine stand right here, these little pieces. And then over here, let's see, I did the inner fender wells. This is the non-stock firewall. There's no heater or nothing on there. It's just basically sheet metal, and we're going to have a brake booster there, or master cylinder there. Radiator core support, transmission mount, I believe that is, cross member, battery, the shock tower caps that go in the engine compartment, which generally when you put a bigger engine in, you take out the shocks that are mounted that way and you do customizing. There's the master cylinder, a little oil filler tube maybe, and whatever that is. I don't know what that one is, guys. Part number 28. I'll look that up, but it might be a starter. Not really sure though. It's kind of funny looking. Alright, here loose is the interior section. It's not really a bucket. A little bit of flashing on there. Here are the door inserts, which have almost no detail whatsoever. In my head, I picture this as being like a piece of aluminum, and then just your door handle and your window crank. That's about it on those. Not a whole lot going on. They have nice looking bucket seats, SS style bucket seats for the fronts, and then just the SS rear end. And the reason I say SS is because this little piece here was chrome on all those seats, and that helped to signify an SS Super Sport style interior. And then we have the rears of the front seats right there, and a fan shroud. That's it on that tree. Alrighty, on this one we have some front end linkage. Sorry about the dot on my finger there, guys. I was painting earlier. These are front spindles, kind of tiny looking, and these I'm assuming are like the A-arms, but boy, they are small. Alrighty, here we have that hood scoop, kind of cool looking. Reminds me of the style of scoop you'd see on the third gen. Is it third? First, second, yeah, the third gen Camaros and Firebirds. That's what those remind me of. Or that's what that reminds me of. Here are the back of the wheels, right there, fronts and backs. Leaf springs, coil springs, rear end, shortened rear end, shock absorbers, exhaust piping, oil pan, heads, the engine for the model, along with the transmission, timing chain cover, starter, distributor, little ignition coil. I believe these are the exhaust pipes that stick out the sides of the vehicle, fan belt and pulleys. These are the carburetors, so we have blue plastic carburetors. We'll paint them up with some aluminum or whatever steel color, mount those on that high rise from earlier. So very cool. That's a decent kit, you know. Let's see what else we have. We have one steel axle, kind of on a thicker side too. Wow, alright. And then we have the instructions. Let's go ahead and get right into those. Alright, instructions. We have building tips for the advanced modeler. Before you begin, yada yada, nothing about an actual car, but that's okay. Here we go. First step, we're building our engine. Okay, real basic. Putting the valve covers on, fan belt and all that good stuff. Our chrome alternator. That won't give you any problems down the road, right? Putting the, here's, oh, look at that. Is it option? Yeah, it's optional. So you can do either like the velocity stack style air cleaner or the standard looking filtered one. Okay. And part 4. Putting our chassis together. Also, those pieces were the lower A-arms, them little ones. And they must just hook up to the wheel housings there. Okay. Steering gearbox was that other little piece I didn't know what it was, 28. There it is right there. And that other piece that I thought was like oil filter is also part of that. So that's good to know. And here we have the shock mount brackets for the inside of the engine bay. Battery's going to mount in the back on this one. Pretty cool. Braided steel, the stainless steel radiator hose. I didn't see that, but maybe it's in there. The aluminum fan shroud and the radiator. They call it a radiator wall. We've always called it a radiator core support, but whatever. Wheels are going together in step 7. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Wheels are going together in step 7. Step 8, we're putting our wheelie bars and our rear end in, along with the drive shaft and the final parts of the suspension. So that's where the other part of the spindles go into that lower suspension tie rod section. Be very careful with those guys. You may want to, I mean, you build your vehicle however you want, but me personally, I would sand down those little nubs a little bit just to ensure that they fit proper and you're not forcing them in, because they look kind of delicate and one of these pieces is going to break. So there's just a little heads up for you. And then over to step 10, we have the interior bucket going together. Pretty basic. Okay. Putting all that together, putting your lights and your glass your glass all in. Putting the trim on. Very cool. I didn't see taillights. Did you guys see taillights? I didn't see red taillights. Maybe we'll have to paint those. No big deal. Up here we're putting our hood together. This is where you can put in your optional hinges that are in the upright position. And then, step 14, we're putting together that extra engine with the engine stand and all that. That's always a cool little option. And some decal placement. Very cool. Alright, so that's it for the instructions. Let's see what we got for decals, guys. I'll set you down over here. Doesn't look like it's going to be much. It's a small little card here. Let's see. Come on, there we go. Alright, not too bad. Pretty cool side decals there. I don't know how that's going to look on blue though. That's kind of different, eh? Blue with brown. Yeah, we'll figure something out. I like the blue, but I don't know. These decals might be suited for another vehicle, but pretty cool. And it has a Illinois plate, and then just the two side decals. So that's it, folks. I thank you so very much for stopping by. As always, please remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And have yourselves a good one. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you on the next one. Model Car Guy Rich out. Keep on modeling.